Now today we'll be studying about the fetal circulation. Now in the fetal circulation, our specific learning objectives are: firstly, you should be able to explain the factors which are important for the fetal circulation with the pathway. Then you should be able to explain the embryological basis of the closure of foramen ovale and ductus arteriosus. And thirdly, you should be able to explain the other changes at the birth. Now, we'll start with the fetal circulation. Now, the oxygenated blood is carried to the placenta. Now, here the maternal blood oxygen over here will be exchanged at the placental barrier, and the oxygenated blood is now carried in the fetus via umbilical veins. Now, these umbilical veins were opening into the ductus venosus, which was the hepatocardiac channel which was directing most of the blood from the left umbilical vein to the inferior vena cava. Now, this ductus venosus is guarded by a sphincter, and the sphincteric mechanism is regulated by the oxygen tension. If there is more oxygenated blood, then the sphincter will close, so to diminish or so to hamper an extra overload of blood on the right atrium. Then this oxygenated blood is directed towards the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava valve will direct the most of the blood towards the right atrial crista dividens. Now, crista dividens is the free margin of the septum secundum at the foramen ovale. So our first shunt was at the ductus venosus, which was directing most of the umbilical vein blood into the inferior vena cava. So most of the oxygenated blood through the heart is pumped towards the developing pharyngeal arches and the developing brain, as well as the developing upper limb. Now, after the crista dividends, the blood stream is divided into two parts. So most of the oxygenated blood is directed towards the left atrium, so that most of the blood via aorta is directed towards the head and neck and the upper limb through the aortic arches. Now, some of the blood is going into the right atrium, which is mixed with the deoxygenated blood from the superior vena cava. Now, from the right atrium, it will go towards the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle to the pulmonary trunk. Now, the pulmonary trunk, again, the bloodstream divides into two: one towards the developing lung, where it is offering a greater resistance, so only a small amount of blood is going into the developing lung, whereas most of the blood is being shunted via ductus arteriosus into the aorta. Now this is the shunt 3, so that most of the blood is going into the developing head and neck and the upper limb. So this also explains why at the birth the ratio of upper segment to lower segment is greater than around 1.7, which reverses later on in adult life. Now from the aorta, it distributes to rest of the body, and again the deoxygenated blood is carried by the umbilical arteries, and again it will go to the placenta for oxygenation. So now there are 6 important factors which you will see in the fetal circulation. First one is the umbilical vein, which is carrying the oxygenated blood. Second one is the sphincter at the ductus venosus, which is uh, guarding the flow of the blood mostly towards the right horn of the sinus venosus. And this sphincter is mainly guarded by the, or mainly controlled by the oxygen tension of the blood. So when the oxygen tension increases during the birth, so it will contract, and then it will remain as ligamentum venosum later on. So then the third important factor is the valve of inferior vena cava, which is directing most of the bloodstream, oxygenated bloodstream, to the crista dividens, so that most of the blood through the crista dividens is going into the left atrium to ensure most of the supply of the oxygenated blood to the cephalic end of the embryo for the developing brain and the pharyngeal arches. And third important factor is the ductus arteriosus, which ensures the shunting of blood from pulmonary trunk to the aorta, and this flow reverses at the birth when the pulmonary uh, resistance will fall greatly as compared as to the systemic resistance, which will increase after the birth. So more and more blood will uh, travel through the pulmonary trunk to the lung for oxygenation, and then pulmonary veins, they will come into uh, action. Then lastly, a pair of umbilical arteries. So these are the six important factors which is important for fetal circulation. Now, there are certain questions why the right lobe of liver is greater than left of lobe in the adults. Now, due to the sphincter mechanism, there is leakage of some blood in the portal system via ductus venosus. So, in the portal system, if the sphincter will close at ductus venosus, so most of the blood will be directed towards the portal system. So from the portal system, most of the blood is going through its right branch because it is straight, and since the left branch is at an angle, so left lobe will get lesser supply, right lobe will get a more supply. Then why upper segment is greater than the lower segment at the birth? Because most of the oxygenated blood is directed towards the aortic arches because of these three shunts. Then, why the musculature of right ventricle is greater than left ventricle at birth? Because non-functional lungs, they offer a greater resistance to the pulmonary trunk, which alters just after the birth. So, what are the changes at the birth? So, there are six important changes at the birth. Firstly, the umbilical arteries, they will contract. So, now the umbilical arteries, they will form, the proximal segment will form the superior vesical artery, and the distal part will exist as the medial umbilical ligament. Then there is contraction of the umbilical vein. So, now it will form the ligamentum teres hepatis, and again because of the sphincteric action, the ductus venosus will close and it will remain as ligamentum venosum. Now, with the onset of pulmonary respiration, again the flow reverses and the pulmonary resistance decreases. So, there is a reversal of the shunt. So, again it will be the ductus arteriosus will form the ligamentum arteriosum. Then, because of the dilation of the lung, it causes more oxygenated blood to the left atrium and increases its pressure. Now, there is a progressive fall in right atrial pressure due to cessation of the placental blood flow, because the sphincter of the ductus venosus will close, so less of the blood will be directed through the inferior vena cava to the right atrium. So there will be a fall of right atrial pressure, and because of the inflation of the lung, more of the blood will be directed through the pulmonary veins to the left atrium. So there is a reversal of pressure which causes the functional closure of the foramen ovale immediately after first breath, after the blood after the birth, and followed by its anatomical closure, which is in a ear. So because of the reversal of the pressure, the septum primum will be pressed against the unyielding septum secundum, and finally it will lead to functional closure of the foramen ovale. So that's all about the fetal circulation. This completes our development of the circulatory system. Next class will be on the development of the respiratory system.